guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder. So now that we've got the 4 heroes and a half show out of the way, let's take a look at their arch nemesis, the Shredder. Shredder comes on that new Nickelodeon TMNT blister card packaging, featuring the bright purples and greens and the New York City scape in the background. The back of the package gives us a bio for the Shredder, as well as an image from the new cartoon series. And below that we get a look at the other figures currently available in this first wave. Alright, so let's take a look at the Shredder. Now, Shredder is one of those classic, iconic villains, but just like the Turtles, he's gone through some different redesigns in all the different incarnations of the Ninja Turtles. So now, taking a look at this new version of Shredder, I actually really like this style. He's got very large spikes on the shoulder pads and also coming off of the helmet, but you can see the helmet has still got that classic Shredder shape. It's got the silver face mask covering up most of his face. The only thing you can see there are his whited out eyes. The helmet is, of course, non-removable. It's all part of the sculpt, so you can't actually take that off or see his face or anything like that. So, unfortunately, Oroku Saki stays hidden. Now, he's got those large spikes also sitting on his shoulders there. They're permanently attached to the figure, but they do actually have a bit of a joint on them, so they're kind of loose, and that's so it doesn't hinder any of the shoulder articulation. He's also got the large spikes wrapped around his wrists there, and also around his shins, which are part of his boots. So none of the spikes are removable, they're all permanently attached to the figure. The colors on the figure are actually very standard. He's got just a black bodysuit. Looks like it's got a little bit of a hint of purple to it in the belt and on parts of the boots there. And then the spikes and the chest piece are all done in a bit of a gunmetal silver paint. So there's not a lot of added detail or anything like that. He's very basic looking. Now, the articulation on this guy is not near as good as what we've seen with the Ninja Turtles. His head is able to turn left and right only. He does have ball hinge joints at the shoulders there, allowing for up and down and forward backwards movement, and like I said, the shoulder spikes don't really get in the way. He has a single joint at the elbow, as well as a swivel right above the elbow, and a swivel in the wrist, so it's pretty nice articulation there. He has a waist swivel, but then his legs only move at the thighs. So he's got hinge joints at the thighs, allowing for split motion, forward-backward motion, but that's it. There's no other articulation in the legs, so there's no knee joints, there's no swivels at the boots, nothing like that. His legs are completely straight underneath those hinge joints. So there's not quite as much posing going on with Shredder here. You can't get him in a lot of different stances. The articulation in his upper body is great, but the lower body is pretty much stuck in one pose. Shredder actually does come with some added weapons. First up, he does have this one sword. The sword can be held in either one of his hands, and he holds onto it pretty good. The right hand seems to be a little looser than the left hand, though. He gets a bit of a tighter grip on the left hand, at least on my particular figure. In addition, he also includes 2 of the throwing stars, which seems to be an essential weapon for all of these turtle figures. Alright guys, it's comparison time. Here's a look at Shredder standing alongside his vintage counterpart, which was most known as being really squatty in his stance. So you can see the big difference between the two, as the new one looks a lot more menacing. And here he is standing alongside one of my favorite versions from the vintage line, the Super Shredder from the Ninja Turtles 2 live-action movie. Here he is, standing alongside the 2003 update of Shredder. I feel that these two have the most in common. They're very similar in build and style. And lastly, here's a look at Shredder standing alongside the version from the 2007 CGI movie, who actually didn't appear in the movie, but got this action figure. there you go, guys. There's a look at the Shredder. He's not as good as the 4 Turtles, I will say that. I think his paint job is a little simple and it's a little lacking. The articulation is also very lacking in the lower body. It's nice that he's got such good movement in the upper body, but since you can't really change his stance at all, you're not going to get a lot of posing out of him. I also feel he would have benefited maybe from a cape or something like that just to make him look a little bigger and more menacing, but hey, this is the new design of the figure. It'll be interesting to see how it translates in the new animated series. I will say one of the things I really like about this guy is he does stand taller than the Turtles. He actually stands a full 5 inches tall, so when he got him posed with the Turtles, you can see that he towers over them, and I think that is a really nice touch. Shredder and all the other figures in this first wave are starting to hit store shelves right now, so happy hunting, and until next time.